Just a
Okay.
test. Am I audible, visible?
Sure.
Hi Vinay, yes you are. This is today's guest and he'll be sharing with us the journey of ERP Next and Frappe at Zerodha. I'm pretty excited. Let's just wait for a few minutes. I think we
Yeah.
have all joined a couple of minutes early.
Yeah, let's start at 3.
Yep. So till the time everybody else joins, uh, you guys can state which country you are joining from and what's the current status there. How are things? How is the state of things? Anybody willing to share?
So yeah, hi guys, this is Amrit. I am from. Hi Jay, by the way, thanks a lot for organizing this, and I'm pretty much excited, just like you, to understand how Zerodha is, actually using ERP Next and Frappe. And it was essentially the very first time I heard about ERP Next was through Zerodha's blog post only. So yeah,
Great.
yeah. So I belong to the cleanest city of India called Indore. It's in central India, MP. And coronavirus wise, we are not doing pretty well. I hope it just gets over soon. But otherwise, I mean, working from home. I mean, it's not that it's not that easy. Honestly, I miss office. But
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. I mean, let's just hope it gets over soon. Yeah,
Yeah, we are all hoping here.
yeah. That's
Some
right.
people.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's time, no? Let's start.
Um, yeah, I think we can start. So, so I guess we are live then, and yeah, I'm very excited to learn about ERP Next and Frappe at Zerodha, and I see that our audience is also very much excited. Apart from the fact that there is this coronavirus pandemic going out there, I know that it's scary, but don't worry, guys, we'll all get through it. And that was the initiative behind the webinar series, so that we can connect with the audience on a digital platform and encourage each other and what and how we can digitally transform. So I guess this is the second webinar. We have Vinay Kumar with us, and he's the vice president at Zerodha. And the time out to discuss how ERP Next is being used at Zerodha, which is the number one stockbroker in India. And they continue it with their flawless customer experience. And I've been a customer myself of Zerodha. I've opened an account, and it is actually paperless. So it was amazing. Let's see how it goes around in the back end. Uh, Over to you, Vinay.
Yeah. Hi, Jay. Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to see a lot of people have joined for this. So I'll straight away start.
Just a request, guys. Please keep yourself muted if possible. And if you have any doubts throughout the presentation, just post it on the chat. Then we can take it in the open house, which we have later. Okay. Thank you.
So today I'm going to talk about how we use ERP Next at Zerodha and also about how we use Frappe. Um, so this ERP Next and Frappe is what we have found is it's a perfect recipe for building a business operating system. What I mean by business operating system is basically all the processes that are required to run your business, because ERP Next is deals with most of the processes that are like accounting, HR, and general stuff that every company has to do. But there are quite a lot of things that many businesses specifically do, and not necessarily everyone in the same similar kind of business does. So those kind of applications, all the backend processes we have developed in Frappe, and it's been a really great journey. So I'll just going to give a sneak peek on that. So we'll talk about how Frappe can be leveraged to build these business apps as well as supercharge ERP Next to work well and sort out everything for you. And along with this, the bonus experience we get is a beautiful user experience. The UI and UX, that is, I think, one of the most neglected part when it comes to business software to enterprise applications. So we are going to also discuss, talk about how that is very important and how it has worked really well for us. So I'll start with what we use ERP Next for. ERP Next as it is without any customizations. So we use it for our core accounting. Accounting in the sense, not just business accounting, but also what we call as client accounting in stockbroking. So we have 3 million customers, and all these customers do thousands of transactions every day in terms of buying and selling stock. So all these transactions have to be accounted for. They need to be provided with invoices. We need to do all the taxation. So everything is handled by ERP Next. So we have billions of rows in our ledgers, and similarly billions of invoice line items, and everything is stored in ERP Next. So that is the core use case for ERP Next for us, and one of the largest deployments that we have. And along with broking accounting, we have recently started, we are in the beta stages for a new business, NBFC, non-banking financial company. So that is lending. So what we are planning to do is lending against shares, keeping shares as security. We are going to lend cash. So for that, we are using ERP Next vanilla as it is, and ERP Next had a simple loan management and accounting system before, but with our use case, we got it to be done in a more detailed way so that the entire NBFC business can be handled in that. So NBFC business involves maintaining assets that can be pledged, maintaining the customer records, and valuating those assets and releasing the cash. And then there is the loan repayment and interest collection and all the penalties, everything. So everything is completely being managed on ERP Next. Next, we have the HR module. So around 2,200 plus employees that we have use ERP Next as an intranet portal. All the HR activities are done on the ERP Next system, like attendance management, expense claims, leave management, and even internal issue tracking. That's also done on ERP Next vanilla as it is. And the recent versions 12 and 13 have introduced this new module, quality management. And we have also started using quality management for our QA processes. We do QA for a lot of things at Zerodha. So one of the major use case is evaluating the calls that we get. So our IVR system receives thousands of calls every day, and we need to have randomly pick some calls from this and rate them against all the quality goals that we have and the quality procedures that we have. So we are using the quality management module in ERP Next for that. It comes with a very good default framework for managing the quality process. So this is a bird's eye view of how we use ERP Next. And next comes Frappe. So what do we use Frappe for? Frappe basically we use for everything else. So what you saw right now is the core business, but core accounting and the core business processes. But apart from this, we have numerous processes where we handle right from um, compliance to trade surveillance and a lot of industry specific processes in a financial business. We have built a lot of workflows and tools on for these on Frappe framework. I'm going to give a brief overview of what are those. So I'll start with the broking back office. So broking back office is the core accounting module and other trading related records that we need to keep to service the customers. So once the in stockbroking, once the transaction is done on the trading platform, which we call it the front office, all the settlements, movement of money, keeping accounting for the money is all done in a system called back office. So we have built a broking back office on Frappe framework, which works in cohesion with ERP Next. So broking back office has quite a lot of modules, right from placing withdrawal requests, handling deposits, handling charges, generating all the compliance reports that are required to be sent to the customers on a periodic basis, and many more. Everything has been built on Frappe, and that is broking back office. And next is lending back office. Lending back office is the new business that I explained, the NBFC business. For this, we have built all the processes that are very specific to uh, giving loans against shares. So all the accounting part is handled by ERP Next in the vanilla installation. But before we go to actually disperse the loan, there's a process of onboarding customers and doing a lot of risk checks and everything. That is all built in this Frappe app, uh, part of the lending back office. And another major use case that we have, and that's how we discovered most of the vast functionalities in the Frappe framework, is our CRM. So ERP Next also comes with a CRM, which is more, I would say, B2B oriented and a very basic functionality. But our use case was very different. We had complex assignment rules. We wanted to assign a lead to a particular salesperson based on a lot of parameters, and there was a lot of logic going on that. So we had to build a custom CRM for that. And you can see the screenshot. It's one of the screenshot is from the CRM. So we give all the tools, sales tools for the leads in this CRM app, like making a call, looking at all the interaction history and onboarding status and everything. And that's part of the CRM. So this is completely built on Frappe. And next we have customer onboarding. So if you have signed up with Zerodha, you would have noticed our completely paperless onboarding experience that we offer at signup.zerodha.com. So that process is completely powered by a Frappe app in the backend. And this onboarding involves collecting customer data, doing verifications, document verification workflows handled by multiple teams, and integration with a lot of external agencies for KYC, for compliance, and payment gateway integration. So everything is packed into this customer onboarding app and built on Frappe. Next, we have support tools. So when a customer calls us on the IVR or opens a ticket, we need to provide a lot of tools to the support agents so that they can fetch relevant information for the client from multiple systems. So we have built an app on Frappe that acts as an aggregator for all these external systems, and the UI is completely powered by Frappe, where we can pull in all the data that is required and show it in a single easy to use portal. So that is built on Frappe. And further, similarly, we have a referral reward system, like a loyalty point system, which again we use ERP Next installation to do the ledger accounting, and then a small Frappe app that manages the types of rewards that can be accumulated or that can be redeemed by our customers. And next, another major module we have is the compliance module. So as we are in the financial industry, there is quite a lot of compliance work that has to be done and reports to be submitted to several authorities. All these calculations and interactions with the accounting system and all the other external systems that we have is done by this compliance tool. This is also completely built on Frappe framework. So why Frappe? All these systems can be built just using anything, any language or any framework that we want. And in the real world, people would refrain from using Python for such processes. Most of them would prefer, say, a Java language with Java Enterprise Edition and all the related enterprise stuff that we see out there. So first and foremost, we have been FOSS enthusiasts for a long time. Free and open source software is what we use for all the systems that we have and wherever possible. Only on very rare use cases where we have to use a vendor-based system and that requires a proprietary backend is where we don't use FOSS. So FOSS is one of the primary reasons we chose Frappe. Again, Python is a language that we love, and that's been our choice of uh, language for most of our processes even before we had Frappe. So Python was a tick mark and FOSS was there. So that's how we got into just looking at evaluating the Frappe. But again, if you just consider FOSS or just consider Python, still there are a lot of alternatives available. Most of the developers out there would prefer Django maybe to build a application. The rapid development possibilities, that was insanely impressive for us because we started off with ERP Next, discovered Frappe, and saw that how ERP Next was developed on Frappe, and Frappe was quite extensive in itself and tailor-made to build business applications. I mean, most of the common business requirements are already covered. We just had to implement whatever specifics that we wanted. So that was, and it was very quick to um, build. So the rapid development is quite critical for us because we are in an industry where the processes, regulations change overnight, and we are expected to be changing our processes and rapidly rolling out all these internal tools at a very fast pace, sometimes hours, sometimes days. So Frappe, we prototyped initially with a couple of applications and saw the potential there. And that's how we got impressed and started using this. So most of the business application requirements are already available out of the box. I'll discuss that in further detail. And the main thing was the UI. I mean, what I personally feel is any software is as good as the UI. So no matter what kind of complexity you build or no matter how fast the app is, without a good user experience and a user interface, I don't think it can um, help the user. So what I've seen in common business applications is nobody cares about the users as much as they do in normal retail applications or consumer facing apps. So business users are commonly taken for granted and presented with the most complex user interface as possible and expected to figure out themselves. So that was what we had seen with all the other UI frameworks that we had. And Frappe definitely doesn't do that. So most of our users feel at home with the UI. Whatever apps we develop and roll out, they already know how to use it, and they are very familiar with it, and comes with a very impressive looking interface. So that was also one of the main reason why we choose Frappe and continue to build apps on that. So why do I call it as a business apps framework? Why is Django not a business app framework, or why not Flask, or why not Flask combined with a UI framework? All those are possible, but I think if you are building applications specifically for business processes, there are some common defaults or common set of tools you would prefer to have built in. And I think Frappe has the right combinations. The right set of features are built in, like reporting, the job queuing, real-time UI powered by Socket.io, and printing PDF reports and everything. These are virtually the 90% requirements every business app has. Other 10% would be the core logic to power these interfaces. So that's why Frappe does a tremendous job in giving this out of the box. And as I already discussed, the time to market. So you are as good as fast you are. That is the current expectations. It's not how big you are. So big businesses or small businesses don't matter anymore. A fast business is what differentiates you from the competition. So to keep the business goals in sync with the technology, I think Frappe does a very good job in helping us rapidly roll out all these applications for our backend process. Same, so the agility of what you see at Zerodha, what we are able to achieve and give to our customers is, I would say, Frappe has a very large role in getting this done. So that's my presentation so far. And I think we can take up questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vinay. I am truly exhilarated right now. Okay, guys, so it's time for questions. Can I just ask mine? It's a very short one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So you said that you started with ERP Next and Frappe apps. So which versions did you start with, and what was the production date at which it happened, the deployment cycle?
Yeah. While we were researching, we started off with Frappe version 8.
Okay.
And the first project we took up was quite big. It took us, I mean, not the Frappe part, the core complexity of the product, the back office tool, trading back office. It took us around 1.5 years to build. So by the time we were about to launch that, Frappe was on version 10. So we went into production with version 10.
Okay, great. Long way. So, and have you decided that, when you'll be wanting to switch to version 13?
So this is just one of the app. We have, as I discussed, more than, I think, 10 to 15 apps out there, and many of those are already on version 13. So wherever the app, the complexity is simple, we have been able to rapidly upgrade. And we are also extensively using Postgres in the new versions. So Postgres is one of our major requirement, because we find Postgres preferable to MySQL for a lot of things. So we have already migrated, you can say, 50% of our apps to Frappe 13. And well, there are others stuck at 10, 11, and 12.
No problem. They'll get there. Okay. Okay, guys. Yes, of course, the recording will be available and it will be sent to all the participants with the presentation. No worries about that. There is another question from Valmik, who is asking, how do you guys handle such a massive influx of data and store all of it?
So there's a lot of engineering required at the database level. Out of the box, all our defaults. That is the difference I see with MySQL and Postgres. So MySQL requires quite a lot of tuning, quite a lot of configuration to get it the work the way you want it to work. With Postgres, the choice is the performance is very good out of the box. With minimal configuration, you can handle terabytes of data. So at MySQL, the way we handle is we do a lot of partitioning of the data and sharding also. And so it's a DBMS problem with the data. So that we have handled.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope that answers your question, Valmi. There are two questions related to scaling. So they are like, how are you managing scalability via Frappe? I think it will be on the similar lines, right? And what technical changes do you keep making
Yeah.
to manage the volume? Another question is, where do you guys host ERP Next and Frappe?
Regarding scaling, so you need to, so when you start hitting scaling issues, I think the most important point is figuring out what is slowing down. Entire system as a whole will never slow down. It will be some some modules that are slowing down. So in our case, we have the web workers that are sometimes, so when you're handling a lot of traffic, the web workers would not be enough. So we would be just adding more cores and adding more workers that would solve the load issues related to the traffic. And for this, we have the Frappe worker web workers behind Autoscale on AWS. So based on the traffic, the scaling is automatically done. More and more servers, small servers are deployed, and more cores are given to handle the requests. So that is one bottleneck that we will face, and we can address that by adding more workers and deploying it on multiple machines and making it elastic so that you don't use all the infra all the time. I mean, without the load, there's no use having the infra up. So you can explore AWS for that. And other major issues that most of us face is the database itself. So MySQL, when your query starts to slow down, 90% of the time the issues can be resolved by just adding proper indexes. Like, for example, ERP Next and Frappe, you don't add indexes to everything that you create by default. You are supposed to do that yourself. Identify the data that you are querying a lot, or identify the data on which you are aggregating a lot, and put proper indexes. That would solve the database issues. And if the data is huge and the queries are a lot, you would have to do proper sizing of the server also. You can't expect large queries to run on a small hardware. So that is one other thing. And then separating of the modules. So the web server is separated, the web apps are separated for us, the background jobs are separated, the Redis servers are separated, and the databases are separated. That helps us easily identify the bottlenecks and also say upgrade or fix these components individually. So that's how we have been able to scale ERP Next and Frappe.
Thank you, Vinay.
Where do you host ERP Next? We host most of the ERP Next apps on AWS.
Great, thanks. There is a similar kind of question related to deployment, so I'll just get that done. Are you guys using Docker or Kubernetes or similar technologies, or what is that scenario?
Yeah, we have recently started Dockerizing all our apps and planning to migrate to Kubernetes.
Okay.
So Kubernetes, the advantage we see is not scaling. Scaling can easily be done on bare metal or normal EC2 instances. The advantage that we see with Kubernetes is having standard deployment procedures for all our apps. So not just
Okay.
Frappe apps, all other apps that we build and all the deployment processes, we wanted to standardize it and have a proper system. So that's why we have started moving stuff to Kubernetes.
Basically, to establish consistency for deployments.
So it's part of the developer experience, basically.
Okay, great. Thank you, Vinay. So yeah, like you had mentioned, that Zerodha customer-facing products. So there's one person asking, is all the UI framework built from that, from Frappe itself, or other UI tools are also being used?
Yeah, here I would like to clarify. We don't have any user-facing products that are built on Frappe. So all
Okay.
the backends are built on Frappe. Wherever a situation arises where we have to give out a UI like directly from Frappe, we have built custom UIs and directly use the APIs and sometimes even the database to build the UI application.
Okay. Thank you. Um, there are questions about database, and are you managing it with Redis?
Yes. So there, there are some places where we want the data to be fetched really fast and data has to be available in a hot access. So there we use Redis extensively. Even not just Frappe, even on our front-end application Kite, most of the data that you see on the trading platform is completely from Redis. So we use Redis extensively.
Cool. I remember that you mentioned that you don't collect a lot of data, but
Yeah.
I think there might be some data, right? So there is one question where they're asking, which business analytics tools do you make use of for handling the amount of data that you have?
Yeah. We use Metabase for that. Metabase is a open source tool, free and open source. It handles large scale data really well, and we use Metabase for everything. Basically all the dashboards and little analytics that we do, mainly for customer support and detecting issues. So where we have to analyze billions of records, Metabase does a really good job.
Great, thanks. I hope that answers the question. Okay, another question from Govind is, how are deployments and release cycles handled, considering you have to make changes very fast, right?
Yeah. So for all the customer facing apps, the releases are carefully planned. For all the internal apps, releases happen continuously. There is no release cycle as such. For all the customer facing apps, releases are planned, documented, and first beta tested with a limited set of users and then rolled out. Deployments, we use GitLab for hosting all our code. There are CI/CD pipelines set up in that. We use that to deploy code.
Great. Another question related to release is, how do you do deployments on the entire fleet of EC2 instances?
Yeah. So for EC2 instances, we use two ways to deploy to multiple instances. One is not two ways, I could say three ways. One is standard way of doing running using Ansible and running Git pull on all the servers. And the other way is using Docker. We use scripts to push pull the Docker images and update, do a rolling release. And other one, we also use AMIs in AWS and update the AMIs and use let the auto scaling system do the deployment.
Cool. How much part of logic is done in Frappe developed backend tools versus customer facing apps?
Customer
Maybe
facing
percentage by.
yeah, customer facing apps. So whatever you can say, only 30% of the logic is done on the customer facing apps. All the
Okay.
core business processes handled. But there are other tools that we offer, like an analytics tool so that you can analyze your profit and loss. Those are all custom apps which don't involve Frappe.
Okay. Got it. Thanks. I have one more question. So since you guys have been cost enthusiasts, right, and you like using those tools, so what sort of changes have you seen in the industry, and how have you accommodated yourself to stay with the industry,
Uh,
considering there is a lot of like hot enterprise kind of stuff happening, right?
yeah, I think enterprise in the industry wise, the awareness on FOSS is still not that good. People, I mean, you need a technical team, you need a technical expertise also to be able to build your own stuff and use fast software and customize this one. Not everyone is ready to take up the responsibility of handling the technical implementations themselves. So most of them prefer to outsource this to vendors, and vendors make their own choices and they have their own agenda for selling. So that's still happening, but I think people are realizing now that with a small technical team, what we are able to achieve. I think having an in-house team and using open source software will make a great difference for any business.
I agree,
Yeah.
because then you would be investing the capital in, where it is required, not just in purchasing licenses.
Yes. Correct.
Great. Yeah.
Vinay, I have a question. Uh, it's not as much related to ERP Next as much it is to FOSS in general. But now that Zerodha has been seen as a success story for quite some time, and not just in stockbroking, but in using FOSS application for such large scale enterprises. So have you seen a change in the industry? Your peers and, for instance, Rain Matter startups are
Yeah.
in adoption of FOSS.
Yes, yes, definitely. Our use case and our validation has picked up a lot of interest in FOSS for all the Indian technological companies, and all these, all the our partner companies like Rainmat and all, definitely have uh, changed a lot of their stack to FOSS, and even started evaluating ERP Next for all their core business process.
That's wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you, Shivam. Thank you, Vinay. Uh, One more question. They're asking, do you face any issues trying to train your team for ERP Next?
Um, for the accounting process, it's a very small team, so it was quite easy to train them. For all the other applications that we use, virtually there's no training required. So once a person is familiar with, so the user interface plays the main role here. Once a person is familiar with this UI, whenever we roll out a new app or a new portal, once they log in, they're able to figure out, they will see how they know how to create a new transaction, they know how to create a new record, they know how to fetch the reports, and they know how to figure out their way around. So training has been uh, really very easy. Just a Google Doc or just an email sent explaining the brief of the features has been sufficient for us.
I guess you also hire only talented people, right? So that also plays a role.
I think everyone wants to hire only talented people.
Right. So can you tell us what is the strength of your development team?
So development team is 31 now.
Great. Last time I checked, it was 28 or 29, right?
Yes. So we have added two more people in the last year. So 31 is
Awesome.
the current count now. That includes two designers, two mobile developers, and everyone else are full stack developers.
Great. Okay. What is the difficulty of customizing the unique business process of a company that is not used by most companies in general? So I mean, maybe probably the difficulty level and how you are managing it. Considering there are different kind of activities that go on.
I think that comes to the engineering effort again. So how you are able to model the requirements. So that is, you have to simplify most of the requirements, and you have to learn the art of saying no, so that if a process is too complex and if a process is such a this that nobody can understand in simple terms, then there's something wrong with the process itself. That is our so we tend to keep everything as simple as possible, and then that would make us easily model the requirements into the apps. That's the one strategy that has worked, and then iteratively work towards the complexity.
Great. Could you also just elaborate some other tools that are used for your front-end UI development? I think people are curious
For
about
front-end
that.
UI development, it is Vue most of the part. It's Vue.js. There are no frameworks used. It's the core framework is Vue.js for the front ends. We started off with Angular before, moved to React.js, and now we are at Vue.
Great. There is one more question, but I'm not sure if you can answer that. I mean, it's fine to answer that, but I'll just ask. So somebody is asking if they place an order to buy some stock on Kite, the app. Uh, can you just elaborate how it hits the ERP Next database and what are the sort of APIs and what queue layer kind of,
Yeah,
if that's possible?
I can give an overview. So ERP
Okay,
Next,
thanks.
what we use ERP Next is for post-trade processing. So during the trades, there is ERP Next is not involved. So the back office role starts after the trading is done and the trades are confirmed. When it comes to settlement and accounting, that's where the ERP Next journey starts. So the ERP Next involvement starts at the end of the day, end of the market session, where everyone's trading activity is done. Those trades are imported to our back office systems. And first step is we do the billing process. All the invoices need to be generated for all these trades, all the charges, taxes, brokerage, and everything. That is done. And that is the first point of entry into the ERP Next database. And after that, it's all reporting. The ledgers are updated. Ledgers are made visible in the UI, customer facing UI. And then the APIs are used to handle some processes like adding funds to the ledgers, adding funds to the accounts, withdrawing funds to the accounts, and all the reporting.
Okay, glad you answered Valmik's question. It makes a lot of sense to him now. There is somebody who's asking, I'm not sure if you'll reply to this, but they're asking, what do you look for in a person when you're recruiting a new member for your development team?
Frappe development team. So first thing
Yeah.
is we don't have a Frappe development team. So everyone is a full stack developer. So we just have the freedom of choosing the right tools that we think are good for the problem to be solved. So not everything is developed in Frappe. Most of the things are. So a full stack engineer has a choice to choose whatever he wants. So when you're looking for a new member for a development team, I think we look for a hacker mindset where we look for people who have done a lot of hobby programming, have a good GitHub profile, or have been participating in a lot of open source projects. And then we evaluate them based on few tasks. And then that's the recruiting process.
Cool. Uh, Thanks.
We don't
Uh,
look at the credentials. That's one thing. We don't look at the degrees. We don't look at the colleges they have attended or whatever degree they're holding. That is not at all involved in this. So we purely look at their coding skills and the approach they take to solving problems.
Awesome. I guess somebody is wanting to apply, so stay tuned with it. Okay, one more interesting question. Let's just have a brief overview of what is the difference between broking back office and lending back office.
Yeah. So broking back office is all the accounting and settlement activities related to trading. So when you buy or sell a stock or you take a position, there's accounting work to be done. There's money to be moved, and there's if you have bought a stock or sold a stock, there is a settlement to be done. The stock has to be delivered to you. Money has to be debited from you and credited to the exchange. All the settlements are done in the broking back office. In a lending back office, there is no third party involved. So you have stocks in your demat account. You pledge that in our name, and we evaluate the stocks. Before you do the pledge process, there's an application process where you offer some shares and ask us for a rate. What is the amount that you can get as a loan against the stocks? So based on the market valuation and our risk parameters, you will get to know the amount that you can borrow, and then we would have to create a loan account record for you, a ledger entry basically, and then the money has to be dispersed to your account, and then you would be making the repayments, then there will be interest calculations, and then finally loan closure. So all this goes into the lending back office.
Thank you. I have to be honest, I got little confused, but but
So,
yeah.
yeah, if I have to summarize, everything related to your trades, the settlements, and the accounting are handled in trading back office. Everything related to you borrowing money against some shares and repaying is maintained in lending.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Vinay. Um, okay. Amrit's question is here. He's asking what were the issues that you were facing when you were starting with Frappe as a development platform. How were they resolved? And this is because there is not sufficient documentation available about Frappe.
Yes, that was true back then. Now it is way better, improving, but there's a lot to improve again. So one of the main, I mean, there were a lot of surprises, undocumented features, undocumented issues showing up when we did the development. But as the framework itself is quite simple, and if you are pretty decent at Python, you would be able to dig into code and figure out how it works, and if there's any issue, why the issue exists, and you can even fix it yourself or interact on GitHub and look for a solution. So initially we didn't face any major, I mean, there was no steep learning curve to start with, and there were not many issues initially also, and so there was not a big problem. So given the fact that Frappe lacks information for the first time developers, yeah, documentation, I think now it has quite improved, I mean, by a lot. I think that is not true anymore, but a good Python understanding would take you a long way. Instead of looking for a documentation or help, looking at the code has been quite useful for us.
Great.
Yeah, frappeframework.com, that's where you have to check.
Yeah. Okay, people are also agreeing. Thanks, guys. Okay, I have one question, Vinay. So, would you like to give us some best practices when starting with Frappe Framework or ERP Next for any kind of business industry?
The best practices while building a Frappe app?
Yeah.
Best practices would be, I mean, it would be standard for any software project, but for Frappe, I think you get started with the stable version, so that by the time you release, you don't end up dead with a dead code where you have to completely redevelop for the latest version. So make sure you understand how Frappe versions work, what is a stable release, what is a beta release, and then I think that's it. I don't have much to be.
Of course, no problem. Thanks. One more question from Farooq. He's just asking that why did you guys choose to move from Angular to Vue.js?
I personally I don't have much information. I mean, on this, because I don't work on the front end much. But from what I've heard, Angular was getting bloated and quite complicated and slow to manage, and Vue made more sense, simple and not much bloat and easier to build. That's what I've heard.
So, Vinay, I
Thanks.
have one more question. And a lot of people, they want to try out ERP Next, their self-hosting. So, when hosting ERP Next, since there are, it's a large ecosystem, do you have some best practices when it comes to actually deploying ERP Next for for an organization?
Deployment was, I think it's just normal bench, the CLI, you do the setup with that and use the official setup. I think that works with a normal BPS, EC2 instance. The default production setup that bench does is good enough for any kind of this one. And this Frappe.cloud is one recent thing I've been experimenting. the Frappe's cloud hosting, and that experience also has been really good. They have managed to build a really good, easy to use hosting system for Frappe.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Vinay,
thanks, Vinay.
for that. We are getting sort of free marketing for Frappe Cloud here. Okay, there is another question where they are asking if how do you manage the extensive customizations on default doc types provided by ERP Next? If you
Yeah,
have, yeah.
this is a issue that we have also faced in the past. So for the default doc types, I would prefer we have a very limited customizations, and you deal with our own your own doc types when you are implementing custom stuff. And customizing ERP Next doc types is good as you can do in the UI, the customizations that are possible. So if you do it at the code level, yeah, updating will become a pain. So I would prefer not to customize ERP Next at all as much as possible, and build all your customizations in separate app and deal with your own doc types.
Awesome. Thanks. I hope that answers your question. There is another small question. How can Bench CLI be used for distributed deployments on AWS?
We don't
Would you
use
like to?
Bench CLI for the deployments. We try to keep it confined to either Docker images or an EMI. And if it is just the shell script, then you can just combine it with a Git pull and a bench migrate.
Of course. Thanks. Okay.
Do you think small business companies overkill? I don't think so.
Yeah, even I thought that was a kind of.
I don't think so that PLP Next is a overkill on resources. In fact, the latest version is quite light on the resources. You can, I mean, with just say like if Frappe Cloud is able to achieve, or even you can easily run it on a $5 a month instance and still have decent number of users and fast enough system for a small business. I don't think it's a overkill for the resources in terms of hardware. But other things like say training or maintenance, even that I think it's quite light. It is built to be a self-help based system more. So I don't think it's a overkill.
Thank you, Vinay. One question which was left unanswered. I'm sorry about that, Ken. We'll just get it now. What was the limitation due to which Frappe was not used for direct transactions?
So Frappe desk UI is intended to be an admin UI and to be your backend operations always. So if you have to build experience for your end customers, that would be the either the portal or the Frappe web pages. And we prefer to have unique experiences, and our designs are quite unique. So it is easier to keep the UI layer separate from Frappe, the customer facing UI layer, and just do the API integration so that you have better control over the UI. Because Frappe, the UI framework is good for all admin operations and backend operations. But when you want to build unique experience for the client in this one, in an app or a portal, uh, I think we have better control having a UI app separate.
Awesome. Thanks. Ken is also happy with me, I hope. Thank you so much. And yeah, guys, I think we have like 15 seconds for 4 p.m. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And thank you, Vinay, for the great presentation and sharing your journey with us.
Thank
I
you.
enjoyed it very much. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good experience for me. I think the audience also has been great. They asked quite a lot of sensible questions, and it was nice knowledge sharing interaction.
Great. Thank you. People want your email ID, Vinay. Should I just give it to them?
You can message me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn URL. You can message.
Okay, they are going to hold you at that, okay? Great. Thank you so much, guys. And we'll meet again, I guess, in August now with the next webinar. And yeah, see you all then.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.